Welcome back to 89 Games, everybody. Today we're continuing our series on the Gloomhaven character guides. Today we're going to be talking about the music note class. So if you want to avoid spoilers, here's your chance to click away. But for everyone else, we're going to jump in 3, 2, 1, here we go. Alright, so here is the Soothsinger. Now, the Soothsinger is one of my favorite support classes and probably the best support class, but also a somewhat boring class to play because you're going to have a couple active cards you're going to turn on, and then you're just going to basically sit there and wait for your allies to just wipe the map. So if you have a full team of 4 here with the Soothsinger, he is an OP character. He makes your whole team OP, and it puts the game on super easy mode, especially depending on what characters you have him with. Now, if you're playing with less than 4, he becomes less useful, less powerful. So if you're playing only with 2 characters, he's probably not going to do that well for you. But with 3, he might do all right. But with 4, he's definitely a beast with his support abilities. So let's go ahead and talk about those as we jump into the cards. And the first thing to remember is that he actually has songs that he plays, right? So these songs are his special thing, and he can have one of them active at a time until we get a card later that'll allow us to have more than one active, and they give the whole team a buff. And then when he plays another song, the current active one goes away. It goes into your discard, though. It doesn't go away forever. It only goes into your discard, not your lost pile. So you can change up the song based on the situation that's going on in the game at the moment. But generally speaking, there's going to be 2 that we're going to use, and the rest we won't need once we get to level 5, where the build really comes together for the Soothsinger, the one that I've used in the past that works really well. So, Power Ballad here with Initiative 19, and we do have some pretty good initiatives with the Soothsinger. Overall, he has some later ones, but he has a lot of really early ones. So, Power Ballad is all allies add +1 attack to one of their attacks each turn. So every ally gets +1 attack to one of their attacks. Not all their attacks each turn, just one. So if they're attacking multiple times, it only applies to the first one. But here's the other cool thing about these songs. Every song the Soothsinger is singing gives him 1 XP every single turn, no matter what. If the card is active, he gets 1 XP, which means you're going to level up ridiculously fast because you're going to get 10, 12 plus XP every scenario because you're going to get one almost every single round. So these are really powerful cards. And then the bottom of this one is a move 2. You strengthen, affect all adjacent allies. Another really good buff to give our allies advantage and help them out. Plus, it gives us experience as well. And then moving on to the next one, we have our second song here, which is Shield 1, affect all allies. If you've played this game, you know how powerful shields can be, especially if you build up a couple of them on your characters. So think about having a tank who maybe they have a permanent shield card, so they've already got 1 shield, maybe they have 2 shield. Then you play this song, everyone gets an additional shield. So your tanks are super tanky, and even your less tanky characters have a little bit of tanking ability because this is damage negation. If you have 4 characters, this is at least 4 less damage every turn. If every character gets attacked, it's 4 less damage. If one character gets attacked 3 times, it's 3 less damage. This is a really powerful buff. And then the bottom is an aura card, which allows the next time any ally within range 2 suffers damage, this round they suffer no damage instead. So this is just a straight negation of damage for your allies. But the top of this one, in the beginning, in level 1, you probably want to be using this shield card, because especially at level 1, if you have this character unlocked that quickly, where most of your characters are still level 1 to 3, I mean, this is going to be a really powerful buff for a low level team for sure. So then moving on to Song of Speed is a third song here. This one allows all allies to add +1 move to all their move actions and +1 range to all of their range attacks. So if you have a team with a lot of range characters, this could be useful for, getting a lot of mobility and range and stuff, but it's generally not as good as some of the others. And then the bottom allows us to muddle, target all enemies within range 4. That's really good for just spreading disadvantage among our enemies. And then also that gives us an experience point as well. And you will notice there's a lot of buffs and a lot of debuffs that the Soothsinger can give out. Not a lot of attacks. There's a few, but mostly it's buffs and debuffs. So we'll move on to tuning the outcome here. This one is Bless, affect all adjacent allies on the top, and then the bottom, a move 3, curse at range 3. So this top Bless is going to be hard to make full use of unless you do it on like turn 1, where everybody's still adjacent to each other, but otherwise it's going to be a little hard to really do well with this Bless card. But if you can get it out there, it is good. Extra ×2 for your allies is really powerful. The bottom, though, I really like with the move 3 and curse 3 because, or curse at range 3, because I can debuff my enemies by putting a bunch of miss cards in their deck. And let me tell you, that helps a lot more than you might think. So I do like this card. We'll hang on to that one for a while because of that bottom. And then the next one is Call to Action. Strengthen, affect all adjacent, or rather, this one just says affect all allies. It doesn't matter where they are. They don't have to be adjacent. So I like this card too. I hang on to this one for a long while because I can just give all my teammates advantage. And then the bottom of this one ally within range 3 may perform attack 4. So we can give, we got someone in range 3, we can give them an attack. So again, we're playing a support role here. And then Warding Dagger, attack 3, immobilize. So here's our first actual attack for our Soothsinger. It's an attack 3 and immobilize. So that's not bad because the immobilize is with the attack, so we could use our movement to get away so that we don't take damage from that enemy on the next turn, on their next turn. And then the bottom of this one is a move 4, shield 2, aura, affect all adjacent allies. I don't like the aura cards. It's really hard to get use out of them. This one also burns, so this one isn't really too great for a burn card, especially since your Soothsinger is not going to be on the front lines very often anyway, where you would actually need that shield or be able to shield an ally. And then the next card is Throw Voice. This one, disarm, range 3 in the triangle pattern. This is a really powerful card. I know it doesn't do damage, but being able to just basically make your enemies useless for a turn is super powerful and can really come in handy to save someone who's about to take a hit, kill them, or whatever the case may be. This is a very, very powerful control card. And then the bottom of this one, range 3, force all enemies in the targeted area to move 1 with you controlling the actions. So that could be good if everyone's near a trap or something, but it's a burn. Don't burn this card for that. Use it for that top disarm. And then the next one is Singing Arrow. This is another good top with curse range 3 with a triangle pattern of 3 spots. So this is really good. If you can get 3 people in that and hit them all, that's 3 curses, 3 misses into the enemy deck. That is very, very powerful debuff. And then the bottom of this one is another attack for us. That is an attack 1, range 3, and wound. So not a lot of damage, but the wound is nice. And it's also a ranged attack. So that's handy because we will not be up front very often. And we are limited in our movement as the Soothsinger. So we're not going to be able to be up in the fight very often. So range is really going to help us out. And then finally for the level 1 cards is Marching Beat. One ally within range 3 may perform move 4. Or the bottom, we get to move 4 instead. That's not a bad card. I kind of use it for the movement more than anything else for myself, but it is good for helping an ally if they need that extra boost. And then the X cards, we have Wistful Wounding, which the first one is a song. It's all allies add wound to all their attacks. Now that's really powerful because that's consistent damage to the enemies, constant damage to them until they're able to heal, if they can heal. So that could be a really powerful card early on, level 1, level 2. And then the bottom is an attack 1 with range 4, and then loot. Gain 1 XP. So not a very good attack, but nice range on it. Plus we can loot something if there's loot next to us. And then the next one is Unending Chant. The next 5 times you curse an enemy, curse them an additional time. So this is just double curses, which that could be really powerful, but it is a burn card. And the way we're going to play this character, you'll see once we get to level 5, it'll all come together. We really won't be using burns anymore because we'll be so limited on the cards that we have, because we do only have a hand size of 9 with a Soothsinger, so we kind of have to be careful about our burns. And then the bottom of this one is move 2, shield 1, and affect all adjacent allies. So again, an aura, so not that good. And then of course the move 2 is just a basic move more or less. And then finally, Nimble Knife is the last one here with attack 2, curse, bless, affect 1 adjacent ally. So again, a good little melee attack, throws a curse in there, we can bless an ally, but we're probably not going to be in melee to be able to use this. The bottom, though, move 4, if we need the mobility, that is there for us. So with all that said, that is our level 1 for the Soothsinger. And he's really not super powerful yet at level 1, but we'll see once we get a few levels in here, it's really going to come together. So let's go ahead and move on to level 2, where we'll find Soothing Lullaby or Change Tempo. So Soothing Lullaby, all allies may perform heal 1 self-action at the beginning of each of their turns. So this is essentially making your entire team immune to wound and poison because they will heal themselves of it at the beginning of every turn. So that's actually a really powerful card if you're on a map where there's a lot of poison and stuff going on. The bottom is a heal 3 at range 4, also a very good card support ability there. And then change tempo is the other card. Immobilize, it targets all enemies within range 3. So it's nice because it's an immobilize, but it is at range, so that's good. And it's all enemies within 3. And then the bottom is a move 5. However, out of these two, I'm definitely taking Soothing Lullaby for the bottom heal more than anything else, but also for, the heal 1 if we need it. If that situation comes up, we can switch the song out, get this out there to get some status effects off our allies. So to put that one in, we'll take Warding Dagger out because we won't be melee attacking very much. And then let's go ahead and move on to level 3. And at level 3, we're going to find Echoing Aria or Crippling Chorus. Echoing Aria is my other favorite card. Do not underestimate how powerful this one can be. So all allies gain Retaliate 2 at range 2. Every time you take damage from an enemy, and most enemies are going to attack you within range 2, your melee enemies, some ranged will. Every time your allies take damage, they're going to retaliate 2. The enemies will basically be killing themselves on your party. This is really, really powerful. It really stacks up the damage on the enemy. It's a very, very good card. And we're going to pair this one with a couple other ones later, and you'll really see how it comes together. And then the bottom, this one is Shield 2, affect all allies within range 3. Again, an aura. I don't care about that part. We want the top of this one for sure. Plus the 8 initiative is nice. And then the other card, though, at level 3 is Crippling Chorus. So the top stuns. It affects all enemies within range 3. So that's really good, but it is a burn. And then the bottom is a move 3, disarm 1 adjacent enemy. It's not a bad card, but we can't pass up Echoing Aria. Do not pass up Echoing Aria. We're going to take that one, and we're going to take Power Ballad out to put that in, because +1 attack for our allies, or enemies taking 2 damage every time they hit us. The math makes sense. They're going to take more damage from this. All right, and then we're going to move on to level 4, where we find Disorienting Dirge or Inspiring Anthem. So Disorienting Dirge is all enemies gain disadvantage on all their attacks. Here we go with the overpoweredness of this character. So all enemies gain disadvantage on all their attacks with Disorienting Dirge. That means our average damage that we take is going to be significantly less than normal. If we normally get an attack 3 from an enemy, it's probably going to be closer to an attack 2. I mean, the amount of damage that you negate, that you avoid by giving enemies a disadvantage on every attack is enormous. The bottom of this one is a Curse, target all enemies within range 3, and then a Bless, target allies within range 3. But the top of this one, this song, we will definitely be using. And then the other one, the other card for level 4 is Inspiring Anthem. Any one ally may perform move 5. The bottom, any one ally may perform attack 5. Sounds good. I mean, it's not bad, but against Disorienting Dirge, it's no comparison. We got to take Disorienting Dirge, and then we're going to take out Song of Speed to put that one in, and then we'll move on to level 5, and here's where the build is going to come together. And to be perfectly honest, the rest of the cards aren't going to matter much, but we'll talk about them anyway. So Melody and Harmony, or Mobilizing Measure for level 5. Melody and Harmony is the card we are going to take here. You may have 2 songs active at once, but you only gain experience from one. If a third song is played, discard one of the others. Now, this is an active card. It's a burn, of course, but stays active for the scenario, allows us to have 2 songs at the same time. This is really, really powerful, especially since the 2 songs that we're going to use are going to be Echoing Aria for the Retaliate, Disorienting Dirge for the Disadvantage. So every time an enemy attacks us, not only will they be weakened by disadvantage and probably be missing if we're throwing out a lot of our curses that we can as the Soothsinger, but they'll also be taking damage from us at the same time. This may not sound like it's that powerful at first, but play with it, and I promise you won't be disappointed. It's a very powerful combo. But the bottom of Melody and Harmony is a move 3, attack 3, range 3, so that's actually pretty decent for helping us be able to get some attack in and some movement. But we'll never really get a chance to use it because we'll be using the top of this one pretty much immediately at the beginning of a scenario. The other card for level 5 is Mobilizing Measure. All allies may perform a move 1 before any of their attack actions. That's really cool. That allows some more, mobility and options for our teammates. And the bottom is a move 6 for us, which is really good to help with our mobility. There are cards that we can pick up at the Soothsinger to get better mobility, but I don't take those cards because the other cards are just too good. So we're definitely taking Melody and Harmony. And then to put that one in, we're going to take Defensive Ditty out because we're not using the Shield 1. As good as that is earlier on, later on when you can give enemies disadvantage and the Retaliate, it's going to be much better because the disadvantage is probably going to be giving you less damage anyway, so the shield's not really needed. Alright, now we'll move on to level 6, 7, 8, and 9. So Pull the Strings or Provoke Terror for level 6. So Pull the Strings is another song, and at the beginning of each of your turns, you can force an enemy within range 5 to perform move 2 with you controlling the action. The bottom allows you to force an enemy within range 5 to perform attack +0, range +0, targeting another enemy with you controlling the action. So that's a nice little control card and stuff, but the song will be useless because I promise you there will be no need for it. You'll be using the others. And then Provoke Terror. Now, I do like this card. The top of this one is a stun, range 4 in the triangle pattern with 3 targets potentially. That is super, super powerful. It's not a burn. I can stun 2, 3 enemies with this. That is such a good control card. Soothsinger is a very, very good control character. Besides just being like a buffer and debuffer, they also have a lot of good control cards. And the bottom of this one is an attack 4 with range 4 and push 3. So another good attack to add to our repertoire just in case we need it and get the chance to use it. So we're going to take Provoke Terror, mostly for that stun on top. And then we'll replace Singing Arrow to put that one in. Replacing Curse with Stun, I think that's a decent trade-off. Although you could, keep the Curse, trade something else out if you want. But this is what we're going to do here. And then we'll move on to level 7, where we'll find Nightmare Serenade or Booming Proclamation. So Nightmare Serenade, another song. At the beginning of each of your turns, curse an enemy within range 5. So a good way to just throw curses out there. Again, that's good too, because we're weakening the enemies with that. And then the bottom is an attack 1, range 3, and curse in the triangle pattern again. So again, that's really powerful. And then the other card is an attack 1, target all enemies within range 2, push 2. And then the bottom, all allies within range 3 may perform attack 3. Gain 1 XP and it burns. So that one's not bad. Necessarily, but I really do like Nightmare Serenade here for the bottom of this one. I wouldn't be using the song probably, but I would be using the bottom to throw out more curses. So we're going to take Nightmare Serenade, trade out tuning the outcome to put that one in. And then at level 8, we'll find Tranquil Trill or Commanding Presence. So Tranquil Trill, all allies may perform a heal 2 self-action at the beginning of each of their turns. So this is an upgrade to our other heal card, where it was heal 1 self-action, now it's a heal 2. And then the bottom is a disarm, you target all adjacent enemies, gain 1 XP. So that's good for if you somehow get surrounded by enemies as the Soothsinger, you can disarm them all, save yourself for another turn. And then the other card is Commanding Presence. One ally within range 3 may perform attack 2, target all adjacent enemies. And then the bottom is a range 2, force all enemies in the targeted area to perform move 2 action with you controlling the actions. And then that one burns. So the top of this one is actually pretty good. An ally within range 3 can do an attack 2 on all adjacent enemies. That's really good for a tank that's like surrounded by enemies. But I'm going to take Tranquil Trill here because of the heal ability. So just in case we get in a tight spot, we've been letting enemies hit us to get our Retaliate off, and maybe we get in a tight spot and we need some healing. We switch this card out. We turn off one of our other songs and put this one on to get our allies healed back up, and then we can switch them back out again. So we'll take Tranquil Trill, but we're not going to add it in right now because, again, we probably honestly won't end up needing it, but it's nice to have the option to put it in if we need it, if we do need it. So then we'll move on to level 9, where we will find Captivating Performance and Shadow Puppets. So Captivating Performance is another song. All allies add +1 attack to all of their attacks. So the level 1 card allowed us to add +1 attack to one of the allies' attacks each turn. This one adds +1 to all attacks. So even if an ally attacks 3 times in one turn, they'll get +1 on every single one of them. And then the bottom is a stun, range 3, target 3. Super powerful. And then Shadow Puppets is a move 4 and jump. Force all enemies moved through to perform an attack 3 action, targeting another enemy with you controlling the actions. That's pretty cool. That's a lot of damage you could potentially spread around the enemies, and it's a reusable card, it doesn't burn. The bottom allows 2 allies within range 3 to perform attack 4. So also really powerful, but I like Captivating Performance here, mostly for the bottom. I'm really going to play the Soothsinger as a control character, and then a more of a debuff, I guess, for the enemies because of the 2 songs that we're going to have playing. So we'll take this one for the control of that powerful stun on the bottom, and we'll trade out Call to Action to put that one in. And there we have level 9 build for the Soothsinger. Again, once you get to level 5, put Echoing Aria and Disorienting Dirge out there by using Melody and Harmony, and the enemies will just stumble all over you, doing less damage, taking damage as they attack you. It's almost comical. Actually, it is. It's comical to watch the gameplay when this happens, because the enemies just die on you so fast. Playing the Soothsinger, it's not as fun as anyone else playing, because you're not doing as much other than just buffing everyone. But if you're playing by yourself and you're controlling the entire party, it's definitely a lot of fun to have a party combo that has the Soothsinger in it. But with that said, let's go ahead and talk about some items for the Soothsinger. Now, there's not too much that really goes well, since he's mostly support, not a lot of attack going on. However, 4 head items, as I have recommended for other support classes, definitely Empowering Talisman or any other items that give you consumed items back, because we're going to want to use a lot of stamina potions to stay in the game longer, because we only have that hand size of 9 with the Soothsinger, and with 3 active cards essentially, our hand's going to be very small. So we're going to want to be getting as many cards back as often as we can before we have to burn them. And as far as body armor goes, I would say probably just leather armor or something, just in case we take some hits, give us some survivability. There's not a whole lot else that makes a whole lot of sense. A Cloak of Invisibility could be good, again, just to get you out of danger if you find yourself surrounded somehow. And then for hand items, there's really not a lot that goes with a support class here. You might want to take a shield, just again for some damage negation. And then other than that, for your hand, you could take something that summons another creature, because you can grant them an attack. Or you might want to use something that can call in elements for your teammates. Just think support when you're doing this, because you're not going to get a lot of use out of an actual weapon with the Soothsinger. And then finally for the feet, I would go with definitely the Boots of Striding and its various upgrades to give you that mobility, because you are going to be limited. If you take the cards I did, you're going to be pretty limited in mobility, which honestly isn't that big of a deal if you're playing those songs. Like, your party should be able to handle the map without you having to be up there, although there are some maps where you need to be moving, so it's nice to have that option. So Boots of Striding and its various upgrades, or the Comfortable Shoes and their various upgrades, just to increase your basic moves into 3s. And then for items, for small items, definitely, like we said, stamina potions are very important. And then after that, anything that gives you items back is always a good idea, or like a Scroll of Stamina to buff your allies, giving them cards back. However, I do recommend the Ring of Haste once you get it unlocked for the Soothsinger, and that's because we can get our combo of all those 3 cards off faster, because the 2 songs and the Harmony and Melody card, all of those are tops that we want to use. So the Ring of Haste will allow us to use 2 top abilities in one turn, and then on turn 2 we can get the other song active, and then we'll be good to go, rather than it taking 3 turns to set up. So again, now this does limit the Soothsinger's turns. Like, you will be in a scenario for much shorter times with the Soothsinger, and the Soothsinger won't always make it to the end, but because of the buffs you're giving your team, by the time the Soothsinger does get exhausted, everyone else is going to have it well in hand. And honestly, it'll actually make some of your scenarios probably go faster, just because of those buffs. You'll be killing enemies faster, you'll be moving through it faster. So Ring of Haste is a good idea to help get that setup going a little bit sooner. And then finally, let's move over and talk about his perks. Now, again, we're not attacking much, so there's not really a lot of benefit to these, but we'll go over them anyway. So obviously, we want to remove -1s. There are no special ones like negative scenario effects, like we can't be immune to those, or item effects. So we're just going to stick straight with removing our -1s. So we can get rid of 4 -1s right there. We can get rid of our -2. And then we can replace +1s with a +4 card. So we'll want to do that, because that's a ton more damage. And then we'll scroll down here to, there is one that's a +3 right here. Replace +0 card with +3 muddle card, so we'll take that one because that's a +3. And there's a couple that are +2s that add in curses. We're taking out zeros to add in +2 curse, +2 poison, and +2 wound. And then we can replace +0 with a +1 disarm and a +0 with a +1 immobilize. And then we're down to, let's see, we have it. Well, we can get rid of our other -1. So I didn't see that. We probably should have done that first. And that adds a +0 stun card. And then 3 rolling ones. And then 2 rolling curse cards. So once we get this done with our perks here, I mean, we're not attacking much with the Soothsinger, and I suppose you could make a build where maybe you're attacking more with him than supporting. So maybe there's an argument to be made for that. Maybe he could be better in a smaller party if you played him that way. Because look at this modifier deck. Fully maxed out, there are no negatives. There's only one little miss card, and it's buried under a ton of positive cards, including +4s. +4s and a bunch of +2s that add status effects, a +3. The Soothsinger can do some pretty serious damage if the right modifier card gets pulled. But we don't have a lot of attacks with the Soothsinger, so I like to play him in a big party with all the support abilities, but you might be able to get something else out of him too. Let me know in the comments if you've played him and if you've played him a different way than I have that maybe was more effective or maybe was less effective. Let me know. But that covers the Soothsinger. That was a pretty quick one because I like the Soothsinger. He's pretty easy to play once you understand how the cards work and the songs work and things like that. So I would say if you're playing with Big Party, try him out. Try him out because he can buff your party to a ridiculous amount. It's a lot of fun to play. So remember to like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and keep on gaming.